Hey, I'm the Rek'Sai, and welcome to my first video. I'm a Master Tier Rek'Sai one trick, currently trying to climb to NA Grandmaster. I've been playing Rek'Sai for about 5 years, pretty consistently, and I've really always wanted to put together some kind of video in which I share a lot of the knowledge I've learned over the past couple years. This isn't a full guide, but it's going to be a commentary on how to carry on Rek'Sai in the new Season 15. So, just to begin, the first thing I do when I start a game is look at the matchups. Sounds obvious, but it's really important. The matchups are really going to dictate the questions like, where do you path, and who do you gank early, things like that. There are a few things you should consider, but aren't limited to lane volatility, so are both laners looking to all-in level 3 or farm safely? Enemy movement and crowd control abilities, for example, a level 2 Kayle mid is going to have a much harder time getting away from you than a level 2 LeBlanc. Allied movement CC abilities, you can see here I have a Leona in the bot lane, so that's exactly why right now I'm pathing straight to the bot. And you can also consider the goals of the enemy jungler. So are you against a Nunu who's looking for level 2 gank? Are they a Karthus that you know is trying to full clear? Knowing what these goals are, one of the hardest parts about being in the jungle. It just takes a ton of practice and champion knowledge to really figure that out, as well as research when you try to look up how to play other champions that can help. Here, if you notice, the bot lane ended up getting a kill, so my chances of a bot gank going out now is probably pretty low. Instead, I switch up my focuses toward mid. It's okay not to get the kill here. I would have liked to get the kill, but I just like to talk about how I approach this gank. Notice how I walk all the way to the edge of this wall, out of sight, before even starting to get the approach in. So now I'm as far to the right as I possibly can be. When I come in, I go between her, not directly on her, but between her and the tower, because I know that she still has flash up, and if I go directly on her, she'll just flash directly across. The second she flashes, I do get the knockup, but I don't want to stay too long because I took a tower shot, which is not good. And then I just disengage and immediately go to my clear. The second that the play's dead, I immediately run to my clear. It's also really important that I do not use my flash here. Having flash advantage is incredibly important, and that play mid would not have been worth it at all if I had burned my flash. And you'll see why right here. The second I kill red, I run straight back to mid, to the flashless mid laner, do the exact same bush strat where I walk directly in the bush, all the way to the right side, and we get a kill. I burn flash here, but the only time you should really burn flash is when you're guaranteed a kill. Just like that. Okay, so I don't go for bot crab here because we have no vision, and at the moment they kind of have control over that area, and I don't really know where Skarner is. So I go up and take the top crab. If you notice here though, Skarner actually shows for half a second on vision, giving away his position. So knowing for a fact that he's still on bot side, I know that his Raptors are respawning sometime around 4:05, and same with his Krugs shortly after that, so I'm beelining there. Skarner's taking a bunch of time going bot, doesn't get a kill, and yet I get his Raptor camps, and in a second I'm also going to get his Krugs. But you can see here, Skarner's walking into nothing, and I'm going to be gone after this Jack gank before he even gets here. A couple small things would be, I probably could have approached from closer to the tower, but I also used my W to interrupt the Jack's jump. Very common for Rek'Sai to interrupt movement abilities like that. So immediately after the gank, we're going to take our reset. If you want to look at the gold graph right here, you can see that we're already ahead about 600 gold on Skarner just from the early game. He's also in a position where he's really near no camps or any kind of income. But it should be noticed and recognized that if I don't take my reset here, because I haven't spent my gold, Skarner still had an advantage at that point in the game if I tried to fight him. So by going back and spending my gold, I realized my income. It turned my gold into stats that I can actually press into an advantage. So when you have that gold advantage, you want to be matching the enemy jungler. You want to be putting pressure directly into their face. So I don't want to just trade and go for a bot gank here and let Skarner take these grubs for free. I want to make sure I'm up there and matching the Skarner. You do not want to be trading 50-50, where one person makes a play one side of the map and the other team makes a play on the other side of the map, when you're ahead. You want to be pushing that advantage and forcing fights. When you're ahead, that is the time to force fights. In this case, they sent their support up, so since they have numbers advantage, I want to try to do something on the other side of the map and really make pressure down there. I'm looking over to see if I can find the cross from Nico, which I do. But since this is such an ideal scenario, where someone is walking directly into a bush that you're in with no vision on you, I want to slow down and show what the ideal combo is on Rek'Sai. I'll start with a burrowed Q into W for the knockup. That'll give me 50% of my rage bar. Next, I'm going to auto attack and press Q to get an auto attack reset on the second auto. Then I'm going to follow up with either more autos or immediately an E auto. You always want to be using her abilities in between the timing of her auto attacks. We don't get the kill, and that's fine. I just want to really keep Nico from getting to the bot side if I can. I'm looking to see if she crosses over again into some place that I can easily kill her. Always using those tremors to kind of track the enemy team. I now get in this really awkward spot where I'm kind of behind their team. Leona's dead at this point. I don't think there's anything I can do to save her. But I do see Skarner start moving up toward the Drake, leaving their bot lane pretty open for a gank. Knowing that the Skarner and Orianna can move, the ideal play here is to just take the kill and get out. See, I can just grab this free kill and then move out immediately the second I see them approach. I do try to do some zoning, keeping Orianna away from the kill. It's fine if Skarner gets it, I don't really mind. But just be clear, in a situation like this, you do not want to use your movement abilities and overcommit for a play where you might get trapped. Coming up to here, we start the Drake and get a little bit collapsed on. I want to make sure I, again, save my movement abilities so I can escape and not overcommit too much. I see my bot lane moving up, and so even with a low health, a lot of times on Rek'Sai, you're really able to assist people. We start to take the Drake, and at this point, it's a bit of the beginning of the end for the enemy team. I was able to get a 1200 gold lead on the enemy jungler, and after taking these camps here, despite the fact that I have topside camps up ready to take, I take my reset right now, because I want to make sure I'm spending that gold and realizing my advantage. You'll notice here, if I did actually go and take my top camps, by the time I arrived at Grubs, I wouldn't have had my reset, and had been significantly weaker for this fight. And you'll see here, I'm not afraid at all to run in, because I'm so much stronger than these two champions right now with all the gold I have. I keep walking forward, I got damage on Jack, so I'm able to R over to him, he flashes away, and my Aurora's able to pick up the kill, and now I just keep fighting. I mean, look how little damage Skarner's doing to me and how much power I have against them. I'm going to run straight for their carry, Skarner saves me a little bit, and we just clean up the kills. So you'll see I'm constantly putting pressure directly into Skarner. Having that lead and pushing that lead will continue just snowballing the game over and over and over until there's nothing they can do. Skarner's best actions probably would have been just to farm and give up the grubs and not take a fight there. Honestly, a lot of the rest of this game is just pick after pick, like you'll see in a second, where people are standing in the side lanes and I come in and pick up my free kill and leave. So here I am picking up another free kill. Aurora goes to the engage. I don't even notice the Nico to begin with. Doesn't matter. I keep chasing, and because I'm so strong, and I know that I still have my R to dodge a potential Nico R. She doesn't actually have it, but the potential was there in case she did press R. Those kills let me take the wolves, check the blue buff, take the Grom. At this point, Skarner hasn't shown bot for so long that he must be in the top side. So I start kind of walking over in that direction, and I notice that they start jumping on my Swain. Swain does an excellent job here of staying alive while I make up toward there. I really went up here to just pick up the aftermath and take some cleanup kills, but Swain actually completely lives here, and we end up getting a double kill for free. I move mid because I start overstepping, and we get free kills on the Caitlyn and on the Nico again. You'll notice that as I approached the stun Caitlyn, I didn't use my E to engage because there was nowhere she could go in that time. I cannot stress the importance enough of saving those movement abilities for when they're actually necessary versus opening with them just because. So after this, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk a bit about macro plays and how you can really propel yourself ahead of other teams in low elo. Here, I get a pick off on the Orianna, not a big deal, but what happens next is really important. While I'm bot lane, my team is doing a complete engage in mid, and I have a choice between running and going to this play, which at this point I know I'm not going to get to in time, or I can continue pushing bot in the side lane and act as kind of a top laner and just completely destroy their bot lane. There's a lot of moments in lower elos where if you pick up the slack on what some of your side laners should be doing, you can win the game single-handedly. So in the early game, you get yourself to become an unstoppable force, and in the late game, you push that advantage to just completely destroy their base. Now, if they did realize I was doing this, which a lot of times they won't in lower elos, I'm telling you, if I see them approach, I would start backing off. I am looking at the map to make sure I'm not getting collapsed on. Here I'm able to just go in, take their inhibitor tower, almost take their inhibitor entirely, and then leave. If they were a little bit quicker and stopped me before I took this inhibitor tower, that would have been perfectly okay as well. The top and mid tier 2 turrets are worth 700 gold each, 600 extra gold to whoever's standing next to it. Finally, the laners start to head over to me, and I get out before they can actually do anything. The tunnels are very good for these kinds of escapes, where you can just take your path directly out and not have to worry about it. So, to reinforce that idea, you'll see after we take Otacon, we take Rift, and I run straight topside. When I notice that there's no one there to stop me from my push topside, I do the exact same thing I just did bot, but topside. I just netted myself 1,400 gold from those 2 towers alone. That's almost 5 kills worth of gold right there, that easy. I do mess up doing a 4 fun play, trying to run the Rift in a bot. I really should have just taken the Rift straight top and taken the tower there, but what are you gonna do? And honestly, I'm so far ahead that I'm able to pick up a double kill because of it. Now I simply come help my team, pick up another couple free kills. We have the Otacon buff, so of course we're just going to be running directly at all these people. So finally, before we end the video, I want to talk a little bit about how to approach the endgame fights. You'll notice here, one thing I do that's very important, I sweep to make sure I'm not shown on vision. Okay? Well, I wait for my team to make it engage, and then I go in on their carries. That's going to be your general rule. So you'll see here, they engage on my team. I'm behind the enemy lines, out of sight and out of mind. The second that I find an opening onto their carries, I execute. If you have any more questions about specifically what you should be looking for in engages, things like that, please leave in the comments. I'll be responding to anything that comes up. I'll also be streaming on Twitch most days after 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so please come hang out, ask questions. I'm always here to help. Any question, anytime. Also, since this is my first video, yeah, if you have any comments on things I could do better, ways I can make things more clear, let me know. I'm super open to suggestions. I'll also be looking if there's enough interest in making a full, comprehensive Season 15 Rek'Sai guide. This will include everything from her abilities, how to use them, her ganks, how to set them up, as well as some more advanced macro topics that I didn't really have to cover in this video. If you did feel like you learned something, consider leaving a like or subscribing, or follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheRek'Sai. Have a good day.